We've seen some amazing things, but that, my friends, is something we've never seen.
Brandon Cruz wants advice.
Brandon Cruz wants advice.
Brandon wants advice.
Brandon Cruz wants advice. You have locked yourself into the playoffs.
Nice. Got it.
Talk with old Brandon Cruz wants advice.
Completely speechless, to say the least.
Man, I am honestly so baffled by that decision. Brandon Cruz wants advice. It's Brandon wants advice.
Green flag in the air. Brandon Cruz wants advice to the front.
How are you guys doing, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? This is the Brandon Cruz Daily Fantasy Podcast, and this is my first video for the 2019 NFL season. It'll be my quarterback rankings, and man, that Twitter poll really helped me out here. I put it up there, 70 of you guys responded. I was like, which one do you guys want to see first? I had a three-way tie between quarterbacks, wide receivers, and tight ends. That 29% and running backs are my favorite thing to talk about, so I guess we're doing that dead last this week. Going to try and get them all out before the first preseason game next Thursday, or the Hall of Fame game, or whatever they end up calling it this year. Now, granted, I'm a daily fantasy sports player. I go off of weekly matches, but, you know, everyone wants a quarterback ranking and things of that nature, so I figured I'd make one. And I'm much more of a go big or go home type player. I mean, I'm sure you've seen that from my NASCAR picks, and just the way that I'm ranking these, I'd bet on going big or go home. Typically related to daily fantasy sports, I usually end up playing, obviously, a quarterback paired with a wide receiver, or I skip the pairing entirely and go contrarian and just have a very, very cheap, low-owned quarterback and a stacked roster for the rest of the players. And that's typically been, I've had better success with that, actually, and I'll go over that more in a Millionaire Maker video that I have, with some actual good stats, and I can't speak right now, related to the Fantasy Millionaire Maker, what the percentages have been these last 3 years based in that, who's won it, what players they use, and things of that nature. But typically when I'm doing my daily fantasy stuff, I just use a cheap end quarterback and just stack the rest of the roster. And I've just, like I said, I've had more success that way. So anyway, let's get into the actual rankings here. Now, see, I'm pretty sure I'm going to be contrarian down at the bottom just because that's how I end up playing. I'm using more of my daily fantasy, experience to rate these guys. Obviously, this is my NFL ranking, so I'm pretty sure someone will at least think about this in their snake draft or whatever. Anyway, let's get into it. We all do season-long fantasy sports. Like I said, main focus on daily. But this is still a good list. So anyway, obviously Patrick Mahomes, number one. He's the best quarterback out there based on his season last year. 50 touchdowns, over 5,000 yards passing, 383 passes completed out of nearly 600 throws. I mean, he had 580 attempted passes. That's insane, dude. That is fucking nuts. And then percentage of touchdowns thrown when attempting to pass, with an 8.6. That's wild. That's insane. The only person on par with that is Russell Wilson at 8.2. But obviously, yeah, Patrick Mahomes rated number one as my number one quarterback. Number two would have to be Andrew Luck. 39 touchdowns, second highest in the league last year. Completed 430 throws out of 639, so just more volume there than Patrick Mahomes. But, you know, the Colts struggled last year. Everyone got to remember, they started off really, really rough last year. A lot of people were like, Andrew Luck's done, blah, blah, blah. He's not going to do anything. He ended up being there, and Andrew Luck is a damn good quarterback there. Not really a whole lot to say there. You know, it's Andrew Luck. I'm pretty sure these two are going to be, really popular in most of the rankings. I'm not too worried about it. Now, I have Deshaun Watson as number 3. Granted, his performance dropped based on the first year he was in the league. And last year, I mean, Houston did struggle here and there. Like, there'd be some games where Deshaun would be the quarterback or one of the top 3 quarterbacks of the week, and there's be other times where he was in the bottom third of how quarterbacks performed. I think between having Hopkins, between having Miller, and a more consistent, just a more consistent team, because his offensive line last year was up and down. They're not as bad as the Cardinals, but I mean, Houston struggled defending Deshaun Watson. He was on his feet, and he didn't have the mobility that he had his first year, just because he was dealing with injuries. I mean, he had to take fucking buses to the games. Like Deshaun Watson had a rough year last year. I think Houston rebounds. I think he gets better, and I think he's certainly up there. Now, a guy that I loved, and this is what I mean, like in cheap quarterbacks last year, Matt Ryan. I have Matt Ryan ranked as number 4 on my list. Why do I have that? Well, yes, he was with a losing team in Atlanta. Yes, Julio Jones went through like the first 9 games of the year without a touchdown. I understand that. But look at the stats Matt Ryan put up, and this is one of the reasons why I played him so much last year. 608 attempted throws, 422 completed, 35 touchdowns, just under 5,000 yards. That's wild. With a losing team. Now, granted, he was throwing that much because they ended up being behind, like right out of the gate. Whoever they were playing against, it would be like 7-0, 14-0, 14-3 at the end of the first quarter, at the end of the first half. Like that was his entire year. I don't think he had a whole lot of fourth quarter comebacks, only because he. Let's see, where is it? Let's see, fourth quarter. Yeah, he only had 1 fourth quarter comeback last year. But in fantasy, dude, I don't give a shit whether you win or lose. It's how you perform, and these stats are wild. I think they got a pretty. They have an easier schedule than last year. I think Matt Ryan's going to be great, especially for DraftKings. I don't know how he's going to be priced for DraftKings this year, because it did matter last time on who he was playing, how his performance was. But I mean, he was consistent, and he's throwing to Julio. He threw. I don't know if you watched Atlanta last year. He threw to Julio every fucking throw. I mean, it was wild. Don't have the percentages right here because I just have my quarterback stats up, but I swear to God, Julio was getting like 12 targets a game. I mean, it was just him. He'd be in triple coverage, and Matt's still throwing to Julio Jones. I mean, maybe it's because I'm in love with Matt and Julio from last year, just because I keep on playing him, and no one would have him, and they ended up having pretty decent weekends. But man, I love Matt Ryan at number 4. Number 5, I got Russell Wilson. What timestamp am I at right now? Just out of curiosity. 7 minutes in. Okay. Let's see, I gotta write that down. 7 minutes in. Russell Wilson. Yeah, Russell Wilson is my number 5 quarterback. Now, granted, they ran the ball a lot last year. I understand that's very concerning, and I believe that they're going to end up keeping that up. I mean, it's still going to be a running back by committee over there. Penny might get it, but we'll have to see. Granted, I'm doing this a week before preseason. Obviously, things are going to change. This is just an early list. But Wilson, 35 touchdowns last year, 3,500 yards thrown, a completion percentage of 65.6. And like I said, his touchdown percentage was 8.2, which is on par with Mahomes. And that's only because, I mean, Russell was an accurate thrower, but he didn't throw a whole lot last year. Like I said, they would just end up running it. He only has 280 completed passes, but all those passes were like deep throws to Moore, to Baldwin, like down the sidelines, and they would end up being touchdowns. He just wouldn't throw a whole lot, you know. I think Seattle is very disappointed with how their season went last year. I think Russell is disappointed how their season went last year, and Russell didn't rush for touchdowns like he used to. I don't believe he had any. I just went blank on how many rushing touchdowns he had, but he didn't have nearly as much as he used to. He didn't really rush the ball a whole lot. It was more just Russell like being in the pocket, throwing deep passes, and that was it. Nothing, no real in between stuff. It was either run the ball for 2 downs and then have Russell throw it. I mean that was it. I pray to God that they change their strategy, and I think Russell's number 5 there. Ben Roethlisberger is my number 6 quarterback. A lot of people are concerned that they're losing Tony Brown, but dude, Juju Smith-Schuster is an amazing player. He is a number 10 wide receiver, and he was getting the same amount of volume as Antonio Brown when they were on the field. Now it's just Juju there. He's the star. I don't see a whole lot of difference being here. Ben is still going to be throwing. I mean, like, he's going to be throwing wild. They got James Conner, which it can be. He might have to. Let me change that. I don't think it'll be as Conner driven as it was last year, as I believe it might end up being a running back by committee over there, or at least a battle between two quarterbacks in Pittsburgh. But still, it's Big Ben. They're disappointed in how the season went. 9-6, 9-6-1. Like, come on. I mean, Big Ben had over 5,000 passing yards, 34 touchdowns, 452 completed passes. Dude, it's Big Ben at Pittsburgh. I clearly see him still kicking ass this year. Not too worried about it. Baker Mayfield is number 7 for me. Now, why is he number 7? Well, I understand they went 6-7 last year, but if Odell, if whatever this train wreck of a team's gonna be, if they keep up their potential, it's gonna be awesome. Baker last year was already a good. He was already a good DFS quarterback there. Played in 14 games, started 13, had 27 touchdowns, 3,700 yards, 310 passes completed, and they got Chubb. They got Odell. Sorry, I'm getting lost in my stuff right now. I just clicked out of it. Wow, I legit got clicked out of it. What the hell happened here? This is more I didn't have Baker Mayfield ranked as number 7 to begin with when I started this list about a week ago, but I'm on the bandwagon that I believe that Cleveland can be good. Don't expect them to make the playoffs. I don't expect them to win the Super Bowl or anything like that, but I expect them to be a fantastic fantasy play, and I think Baker's going to be a fantastic fantasy play. Now I have Drew Brees at number 8. Why do I have him at 8? Well, he has Michael Thomas. He has Alvin Kamara by himself now. He doesn't have to fight with Mark Ingram or anything like that, so it's just those two guys. I mean, they have other guys, but I usually just focus on who's the number 1 wide receiver, who's the running back, how does the running back play with the quarterback, and all that type of stuff. Now, Drew Brees had 32 touchdowns last year. He had a completion percentage of 74.4, which is wild. I mean, 3 out of every 4 passes he's thrown is basically being caught. 364 completed passes, 489 attempted passes. He's going to be killer this weekend or this year. Now, Michael Thomas did slack off last year. I understand that, but with Alvin Kamara just being by himself, look at how many passes Alvin Kamara got last year when he was still sharing it with Mark Ingram. And Alvin Kamara is a running back, but they use him in very, very short slant routes, very, very short passing routes, and usually when they throw to Kamara, yeah, granted, it's usually like not a flea flicker, but it's usually a pitch behind the line of scrimmage, or it's a very short throw, like 3 yards past line of scrimmage, and then Kamara makes like a 7-yard run or something following that, so it ends up being 10 yards for the quarterback. It's a completed pass. I think Drew Brees might actually be higher than Baker and Roethlisberger. I just have him ranked as 8 right now. And I think Drew Brees is going to be easily a top 5 quarterback this year. I don't know how consistent he's going to be fantasy-wise, but I mean, between throwing to Kamara, throwing to Thomas, Drew Brees is going to be awesome. Now, Aaron Rodgers, I have him ranked at number 7. I hate Aaron Rodgers. I don't like him to begin with. I don't like him as a person. And I fucking pray. I pray that he sucks, because it's all on Aaron this year. No more excuses. No more excuses from the shitty injuries. No more excuses from the shitty coach. None of that stuff. It's all Aaron Rodgers. So he will either succeed or fall on his own. With Scanley, Brown over there, Marquise Brown, yeah. You know, he had 25 touchdowns last year, 4,442 yards, 597 attempted throws. Now, only 62 of those, or 62% of those, were caught. But I mean, when you're throwing nearly 600 yards a season, especially in a 6-9 team, when you have to come back, when you have to make those comebacks, that's where his fantasy percentage comes through. I don't think Green Bay Packers make the playoffs. I think they end up sucking again. But it's going to be the same situation as Matt Ryan last year, where Aaron Rodgers has to make the comeback. He has to be good old Aaron Rodgers. Has to carry the team through here. And that's where my ranking for Aaron Rodgers comes through. Now, Kyler Murray, I have him at number 10. Why do I have him ranked so fucking high? Well, this coming from a Cardinals fan. I went to games last year. The O-line is fucking horrendous. We're terrible. Arizona Cardinals, I think we got about 4 wins this year in us. I pray to God we're not as bad as last year, but we're pretty fucking terrible. And it was not Rosen's fault. I felt really bad for Rosen. I felt really bad for cursing at him when I was at games. But, man, it's not Rosen's fault. Our team just sucks. Kyler Murray, at least he can move. Rosen was not very mobile. I think this is going to help Kyler Murray out. I think he'll be another Josh Allen. I understand Josh at least has passing upside. Kyler Murray, I believe this is how it's going to happen. He's going to say HUD. He's going to have about 2 seconds to either throw to David Johnson or throw to Larry, and that's going to be it. He has 2 to 3 seconds to decide if he's going to do that. If not, he's going to take off. He is going to be running like a madman, and when you're running like a madman, yeah, you can get injured, but this is fantasy sports. I don't really care about what really happens to him. I just want to see results from him. Don't think we're going to get a whole lot of wins, but Kyler Murray, I think he's easily going to have like 80 to 100 rushing yards every game. Or at least every game for the first 5 weeks. I think that's what I think he's going to be very, not nervous, not scared, but he's going to have so many rushers coming at him. He's not going to be able to throw. He's just going to be able to run. So basically, Kyler Murray's another running back. That's how I look at him. With passing upside. So that's why I have him as number 10. Mitch Trubisky, a guy who went on a tear last year for about 4 or 5 weeks. I think it was between week 6 and 10. 6 and 11. He went on a tear. Wild tear. 24 touchdowns on the season, just over 3,000 yards. 2/3 of his passes were caught at 289. Now, granted, they have Cohen. They ran a whole lot. Robinson was great until he got injured here and there. But Trubisky is a hell of a thrower. He can run too. They're finally actually building a playbook around Trubisky. It's not just him like having to go with whatever the Bears want him to do. And that's that. I have him as ranked as 11. I got Josh Allen as number 12 for fantasy purposes, not fucking quarterback purposes, because he's not that good of a quarterback. But man, his rushing upside is amazing. Like the same thing that I said about Kyler Murray applies to Josh Allen, and I just think Kyler Murray is a better choice over Josh Allen, but I think it's going to be the same. And I think he won't run nearly as much. I think they want to tell him not to rush. And I think he's just going to end up reverting to rushing, but at least passing. His quarterback history, throwing 10 touchdowns, 2,000 yards. Half his passes are completed. But man, this man runs, and he is great for fantasy. I have him as ranked as number 12. Phillip Rivers, 13. Now, I don't know what the deal is going to happen with Melvin Gordon. Allen's still going to be great over there. Keenan Allen. I think that's the name. What's his fucking name? I just went blank. Just went blank. Ellie. I want to make sure I'm saying this right, because I've been doing so well. I haven't had to look up anything yet. I just went fucking blank. What's his fucking name? Not Melvin Gordon. Oh my fucking lord. Yeah, Keenan Allen. Okay, I was right. Sorry about that little I just went blank. I was just talking about Josh Allen. That's where I got it from. But anyway, Phillip Rivers. They were my Super Bowl pick last year when the season started. Keenan A lot of people have them to win the Super Bowl this year. Don't think it's going to happen. Last year was the best chance they had. Phillip Rivers had 32 touchdowns, 4,300 yards, 347 completed passes, and he didn't get sacked a whole lot. I mean, he got rid of the ball fucking fast, man. If you watch that London game, the reason people have him so low is because whenever the Chargers would end up winning the games, it's because Phillip would come out and just fucking kick ass in the first quarter or the first half, and then they would just give it to Gordon, and he would just keep running it to run down the clock. Phillip doesn't throw a whole lot of passes, but when he does throw them, I mean, they're either touchdowns or huge, huge gains. Like I said, the London game last year is a perfect example. I think they were playing against the Titans last year in the London game, or one of them. I forgot exactly I forgot. I think it is. Either way, I mean, that's a perfect example of how Phillip Rivers works. I mean, deadly accurate. When he needs to pass, you know what he's doing. I think I think the Chargers take a step back as a team, as a whole, but I think Phillip Rivers just stays consistent. You're gonna get you're gonna get what you need out of him. I have Kirk Cousins ranked as number 14. Why do I have Kirk Cousins ranked as 14th? Well, this motherfucker is afraid to throw in high stake games. I don't know if he's scared. I don't know if he's shy. I don't know what he's really doing, but man, he's got two world-class wide receivers for Stephon Diggs and Adam Thielen. He's got the stats to support what he did last year. I mean, he had 30 touchdowns last year, 4,200 yards, 70% completion, 425 completed passes out of 606 attempted throws, and 10 interceptions. I mean, that's not bad at all. He's just afraid to throw, and the big games are where he shows that. There's no reason the Vikings should be 8-7. They did that last year with a tie. There's no fucking reason why they should be that bad. They are a playoff caliber team, and if Kirk Cousins can grow a pair of nuts, they are a Super Bowl contending team. I don't think Kirk Cousins will do that, but you know, for fantasy, he has two great wide receivers. Anytime he throws to one of them, they're going to catch it, you know. That's just how it goes. But Kirk Cousins needs to throw more. He needs to not be scared. He needs to take shots. You watch him. He's the opposite of Phillip Rivers. Phillip Rivers, when he throws, I mean, it's deadly accurate. It's touchdown. That's it. Kirk Cousins is like Phillip Rivers, but he doesn't complete the passes, and he's too scared. He just won't throw in the like coverage, which obviously you don't want to, but he won't take those risks, you know? That's what we need to see out of Kirk Cousins to really be a dominant quarterback. Now, Jared Goff is my number 15 ranked quarterback here. There. I was looking for stats to bring up. 32 touchdowns last year, 4,600 yards thrown, 364 completed passes out of just over 550. Now, he's basically the same situation as Kirk Cousins. The Rams just took a step back mainly because they're running. I mean, all their guys are getting old. They're on really stupid, expensive contracts. Last year was their year to win the Super Bowl. They fucked that over. They fucked that away. They ain't gonna get back up there. I don't see it. They're still gonna be good. You know, if they go 10-6, I'll be fine with that. But last year was their opportunity, and they pissed it away. Don't know. Jared is hot and cold. Worse. He's more extreme than Kirk Cousins. At least you know what you're getting with Kirk Cousins. Jared Goff can be the QB of the week and then stink next week. And then he has Robert Woods, Brandon Cooks, Cooper Kupp. Like you got an all-star team over there as well. Just not taking advantage of it. And then whole Todd Gurley incident there. Jared Goff is 15th for me. Dak Prescott, number 16. Now, why do I have Dak Prescott at 16? A lot of people have him in the 20s from early projections that I've seen. Why do I like Dak Prescott at 16 here? Well, two reasons. One, obviously Amari Cooper. He adds a lot of upside there. Before Amari Cooper, it was just the fucking Ezekiel Elliott show, and Dak was being killed. Now, with Prescott actually able to throw to someone, that's going to be great there. Now, also, if you look, which is very surprising because you would think, well, at least based on last year when they brought Amari Cooper in there, you'd be like, well, Ezekiel Elliott is going to go down. he is not going to be utilized nearly as much. Well, that was false, dude. If anything, he got utilized more. I don't know what the reason is exactly. I don't know if defenses got scared and felt like they had to cover both Amari Cooper and Ezekiel Elliott. But whenever they traded for Cooper, Ezekiel Elliott's targets went up last year. And between Cooper catching pretty much every throw thrown his way and Ezekiel Elliott catching passes now, I feel like the Cowboys are another version of the Saints, where you have Thomas and Kamara together. They're both going to be catching passes. It's going to be the same thing in Dallas. And that's why I think it's going to go there in Dallas. So, yeah, that's why I have Prescott ranked there. Now moving on, I got good old Tommy the Choo Choo Train, 17th. Patriots going to be really, really heavy on the run game this year. But with fantasy points related to Tom Brady, I think let me use DraftKings as an example. I know this is, you can use it for fantasy too, but I think he will be anywhere between probably 17 points and 12 points, depending on what week it is. They're going to do a vast majority of their scoring through the run game. And really the only time they need Brady out is when they're making a comeback or just something here. They don't have Gronk. So he loses his go-to man there, even though Edelman kind of turned into that last year. But 29 touchdowns for Brady there, 4,300 yards, completion percentage of 65.8 with 375 completed passes. But like I said, I think it's just going to be a major run game for the Patriots this year. Someone who I think is going to have a better year than he did last year is that's Fig Newton. Good old Figgy Fig Cam Newton. Where is he at? I gotta bring up his stats. Just went blank. Just close out everything again. Son of a bitch. Wow, what is going on? Cam. Oh, okay. Sorry. I was just blank. Sorry, my girlfriend walked in and I had to pause the stream and go back to it. Cam Newton, ranked number 18th. Yes, he has Christian McCaffrey, who is basically his only target to throw to and does everything, which is why I think I just want to say this right now. I think it's Barkley and then McCaffrey as 1-2 for the running backs this year. But Cam Newton, yet again, another situation kind of like Aaron Rodgers last year, where he just had a bad season. I mean, 24 touchdowns, 3,300 yards thrown, 320 completed passes. He took a step down from, obviously his MVP year and things of that nature. But Carolina's got to get better. I expect them to be better last year compared to the year that they were before, with a new defensive coordinator there. But Cam has said time and time again that he's been working on his accuracy. He's been working on his throwing ability. And I believe that Cam Newton will be a better quarterback this year. But that's why I have him ranked at number 18. Number 19, the beige water pistol, as Colin Cowherd used to call him. I have Andy Dalton ranked as number 19. Now, why do I have him ranked there? Because they have what's his name? Not Bernard, Mixon. Yeah, I believe it's Joe Mixon, as a fantastic running back there. A guy who can also catch some passes here and there. Wasn't really throwing a whole lot last year, but he did a good job there. And then obviously A.J. Green and then Ross there. Those two guys are going to be amazing. I think Cincinnati has a way better year than 6-8. I think they'll go probably 8-6, 9-5, somewhere around there. I got high expectations for the Cincinnati Bengals, and Andy Dalton will be there to carry him. And then Andy Dalton, you got to remember, he got injured last year. He only played 11 games, so that's not bad at all, having 21 touchdowns and 226 completed passes. Not bad at all. I have Dwayne Haskins at 20, just because I this type of guy that I think I'll end up playing a whole lot, especially the first couple weeks in the fantasy football year, because I think Alex Smith will come back, but Haskins is going to carry the torch while he's gone. He's going to be really stupid cheap. I think Haskins won't run nearly as much as Kyler Murray or Josh Allen, but he can throw, and that's what Washington needs, because they can't just run the ball. I understand they got Peterson there. I understand that Peterson's going to have a great year, but they can't just run the ball. And Haskins is going to have to throw. And I like Haskins ranked number 20. Carson Wentz, Pennsylvania. He had a fantastic year when Nick Foles won the Super Bowl. When he technically won the Super Bowl too. I mean, Carson has that ring as well. But he took a step back last year. Only played 11 games because he was injured when he started the year. 21 touchdowns, 3,000 yards, and a completion percentage just under 70%. That's not bad at all. But I think Philadelphia starts coming down. I mean, they went 5-6 last year. At least they did under Carson Wentz's watch. I think Carson Wentz takes a rundown. That injury, as much as they don't want to talk about his ACL injury, it hurt him last year. He wasn't nearly as mobile. His first year, when you saw him play, I mean, he would be like surrounded by guys, and he would dodge and weave and juke everyone. He didn't do that this last year, and I don't think he's going to be doing that a lot anymore. He's not the mobile Carson Wentz that we saw the first year. And that's why I have him down here. Matthew Stafford, between Galladay, I just went blank on who the other guy is in Detroit that they're throwing to. I just went blank on him. Anyway, Matthew Stafford, there's no reason one of the highest paid quarterbacks should be as bad as he was last year. They went 6-10 over there. He had 21 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, but threw 555 times. He was never on target, but he threw a shitload, and that's why I have Stafford at number 22. And between where I start with Andy Dalton to at least down for like next 8 picks, this is where I usually build my DraftKings lineups. I mean, obviously I use guys up top, but Stafford, Darnold, Foles, Allen, Kirk Cousins, these guys I usually end up building lineups with anyway, so that's why I care more about these guys. But I think Stafford's going to have a better year. I think Galladay's going to be a breakout wide receiver this year. He showed that last year at times, and then he had to deal with injuries and all that, so I think Detroit's going to be better. Sam Darnold, listen, I love Sam Darnold. Loved him in college. He got thrown, in kind of a rocky place last year, but between Anunwa and how they were using the running backs as basically a second wide receiver in New York. What else? Sam Darnold, where are you at? 17 touchdowns. That's not bad at all. Completion percentage of 57.7. And granted, he threw 15 interceptions. I understand that. I understand that he had some pick sixes here and there, but in fantasy, that's not always a bad thing, because if you have a quarterback and he throws an interception, what is that, like -1 points, -3 points, and the other people get a pick six? What does that do? It gives the ball right back to Sam Darnold with an incentive that he has to go out and score and make those big throws. So in fantasy, unlike real football, a pick six is really not a bad thing. It's something that'll actually light a fire under most quarterbacks, and that's something that I saw last year. Whenever in his good games where he threw multiple touchdowns, it's because he would make a bad play, a bad throw or something. He'd get the ball right back, and he'd have the fire behind him to get through it and all that type of stuff. Jimmy Garoppolo, just based on how he played, at the end of last year and at the end of 2017, the beginning of last year before he got injured, I have Jimmy ranked at number 24 on my list here. Granted, he played 3 games. I understand that. He threw 5 touchdowns in that span. But he has Kittle. He has... I just went blank on the other wide receivers. Fuck me. Wow, man. My girl, I'm gonna blame this on my girlfriend just walking in, screwing up my mojo. You can tell after Dak Prescott, my enthusiasm went down because we just talked for like 20 minutes. But Jimmy Garoppolo was 24th for me. I just think he's the 24th best quarterback right now in fantasy based on the people here. And then I got Joe Flacco. I think Flacco is going to be fantastic in Denver if he gets the starting role there. He's going to kick some serious ass. They have Philip Lindsay there. They have, I don't know if, what is it? I don't think, not Sanders. Yeah, because Sanders went to Houston last year and got injured. Who's the fucking other guy? Who, we got the 88. Hold on a second. Hold on. I just went blank. I just went blank. Hold on, please, man. Denver Broncos players. Who the fuck are the players? You got, well, great. I mean, you got Drew Lock too, but I think Flacco is going to end up getting the starting role. Demaryius Thomas, that's his name. I think like I said, I think Flacco's going to end up getting the starting role at least for the first 5 weeks. He's going to have Demaryius Thomas to throw to. He's going to have Philip Lindsay to throw to. I think it's going to be real. I think it's going to be a good show there. Nick Foles, now granted, I do think Nick Foles, I probably should have Nick Foles ranked a bit higher, but Nick Foles is going to be starting quarterback in Jacksonville. He has Kiki, he has D.D. Westbrook, not Kiki, yeah, he has D.D. Westbrook, Fournette. Look, if Bortles can bring those guys within striking distance of Super Bowl, Nick Foles is going to at least elevate that team just a hair. It's not going to be a kick-ass team, but Nick Foles will certainly be better than other people, and I think Nick Foles is going to be a fantastic quarterback, especially for fantasy sports. I think it's going to, or daily fantasy. He had 7 touchdowns last year, completion percentage of 72%, basically 3 out of every 4 passes being caught, and I think that's going to be great. 27th, I have Ryan Fitzpatrick ranked here. And the reason I have him ranked here is because I think Ryan Fitzpatrick gets the starting job at Miami. And I think Josh Rosen goes to a backup quarterback position in Miami, at least to start the season. And Ryan Fitzpatrick plays fantastic in the beginning of the year. Look at all the teams he's played for. His career has always been not as good as last year, but he's called Fitzmagic for a reason. He plays fantastic in the early months, first 6 weeks of the season. That's how they always are. I like Fitzpatrick for that, especially for fantasy. First six games, don't think it'll be as dominant as last year, but they have Kenny Stills. They have Danny Amendola over there, and Ryan Tannehill was just not showing up last year for Miami. I think Ryan Fitzpatrick is the 27th best quarterback right now. He's going to get the starting role there. He's going to be great the first part of the season. And then probably Josh Rosen will start after that. That's just how I see it going. I got Derek Carr at number 28. Listen, Raiders are, I don't know what the fuck's going on with the Raiders. Derek Carr is not showing me any capability whatsoever to even do anything. I mean, granted, the kid he played all 16 games, had 19 throws, 10 interceptions, 4,000 yards throwing. A completion percentage of 68.9. I understand that, but Antonio Brown is going to bring some stabilization to that team, but I think it's just going to be the Antonio Brown show, kind of how last year Matt Ryan just threw to Julio. I think that's what Derek Carr is going to do. So it's all going to rely on Antonio Brown. That's how it's going to go. I got Jimmy Garoppolo at number 29. Yes, I have him at 24. I forgot to take Jimmy Garoppolo off. My bad. 29th is Josh Rosen, because, listen, he may not get the starting job in Miami, but Josh Rosen's a good quarterback, and he's certainly better than Mariota, Jackson, and Eli Manning. Those are my last 3 guys that I actually have here. So, Josh Rosen is Josh Rosen. I think he's another Ryan Tannehill, and I think he is better than what he showed last year. He just didn't have any help. And Mariota, I have him at 31. I think this shows that Mariota just cannot throw, and Mariota's a good fantasy play here and there. Like, what was that playoff game when he threw a touchdown to himself? That won every GPP because no one had Mariota. And that's all he does. He'll get like a random rushing touchdown or a randomly good play. But the kid is just not the leader of the Tennessee Titans. He doesn't have a voice. I don't see him being a leader there. Easily 31st quarterback. I don't like Mariota at all. Lamar Jackson is my 32nd quarterback. No, he's my 31st quarterback here. Listen, Lamar, he's good for rushing. Can't throw worth a shit. That's it. That's how it goes. And I have Eli Manning rated 32nd. Eli is the worst. I think that team will make a crumbling fall this year. They went 5-11 last year. Eli did have 21 touchdowns last year, 11 interceptions. Not bad, but they do so many 3-and-outs, and it's just Barkley. It is all Barkley. He does everything for that team. Because of that, Barkley is the best running back because he has the worst quarterback on the team. And that's my rankings of the quarterbacks that I at least think are going to start or at least be here. Granted, this is before preseason. This is before training camp. A lot of training camp start on Thursday. I'm recording this on July 23rd. I'm sure things will change, but this is my early ranking, so I'll just go through it again. Thank you guys for listening for 40 minutes, but these are my rankings. So I got Mahomes, Andrew Luck, Deshaun Watson, Matt Ryan, Russell Wilson, Ben Roethlisberger, Baker Mayfield, Drew Brees, Aaron Rodgers, Kyler Murray, Mitch Trubisky, Josh Allen, Phillip Rivers, Kirk Cousins, Jared Goff, Dak Prescott, Tom Brady, Cam Fake Newton, Andy Dalton, Dwayne Haskins, Carson Wentz, Matt Stafford, Sam Darnold, Garoppolo, Flacco, Foles, Fitzpatrick, Carr, Rosen, Mariota, Jackson, and Eli. Those are my rankings. Thank you guys for listening. I'm going to post the other ones this week as well. So let me know what you think in the comments, and have a fantastic day. Thank you.